Welcome to this edition of Topics in Southern Mongolian Human Rights, a project of the Southern Mongolian Human Rights Information Center. This time we're going to focus on Mr. Hada. Mr. Hada was born in Korchin, right-wing front banner of Inner Mongolia in 1955. He got his first degree from the Department of Mongolian Language and Literature at the Inner Mongolian Teachers College for Nationalities in 1983. After graduation, he worked as an editor at the Inner Mongolian People's Publishing House for 3 years. Then he became a graduate student in the Department of Politics, Inner Mongolian Teachers University, in 1986, and in 1989 he graduated with a master's degree in philosophy. In the 1980s, he had been an active member of underground Mongolian organizations in inner southern Mongolia. The goals of the organizations were to preserve and protect the religious and cultural heritage of the Mongols, as well as to fight for the social and political rights of the Mongols, rights guaranteed under the Constitution of the People's Republic of China, but that have never materialized. In October 1989, he opened the Mongolian Academic Bookstore in Hada, the capital city of southern Mongolia. In May 1992, Mr. Hada and other Mongol students and intellectuals established the Southern Mongolian Democratic Alliance, SMDA, and Mr. Hada became the chairman. The SMDA published an underground journal, The Voice of Southern Mongolia, and Hada wrote a book, The Way Out for the Southern Mongols. In his book he stated the facts of what the Chinese Communist government had done to the Mongols of southern Mongolia. Mass killings of the Mongols through waves of political campaigns. Deprivation of the social and political rights through communist totalitarian regime. The total destruction of the Mongol religious system, culture, and traditional customs. Gross violation to the fundamental rights of the Mongols. Mass immigration of the Chinese into Inner Mongolia. Irreversible destruction of the environment and birth control policies toward the Mongols. He pointed out in his book that the only way out for the southern Mongols is to stand up and fight for their legitimate rights given by the Constitution of the People's Republic of China. In 1995, the SMDA organized several peaceful demonstrations in the capital city of Inner Mongolia to demand the Chinese government materialize the rights of the Mongols written into the Constitution of the People's Republic of China, as well in the self-government constitution of the Inner Mongolian Autonomous Region. After organizing a demonstration and school strike among the teachers and students in the universities and colleges of Hada in December 1995, Mr. Hada and dozens of other Mongols, including his wife Shina and his brother Has, were arrested by the authorities. On December 6, 1996, a year after detention without trial, he was charged with the crimes of separatism and espionage for Mongolia and sentenced to 15 years in jail. Hada's wife and brother were also arrested with Mr. Hada in 1995 and spent 3 months in prison without charges. During that time, their 4-year-old son was left home alone to be cared for by relatives. Hada's bookstore was closed down immediately after his arrest, and all the books, research papers, and other properties were confiscated as criminal utilities and evidence. A cordless phone was also confiscated because Shina used it to give an interview with the Voice of America. Shina has been under close surveillance and often questioned by officers from the Bureau of Public Security and the Bureau of National Security. She and her son were detained for 4 days during the celebration of the 50th anniversary of the establishment of the Inner Mongolian Autonomous Region in July 1997. The authorities ignored Shana's numerous requests to reopen the bookstore to support the family. The authorities have not allowed her to seek employment, and the family's living conditions have been extremely difficult. In December 2011, just before completing his 15-year prison sentence, both Shana, his wife, and Oyles, his son, were arrested and incarcerated so as to further pressure Hada into submission. Relatives that have been fortunate enough to have been allowed contact with Hada have related that when his prison sentence was complete, he was offered his freedom in exchange for signing a piece of paper that said he would keep quiet or he could get asylum in any other country. He refused both alternatives and continues to remain in prison more than 3 years after finishing his prison sentence for peaceably expressing his right to free speech as guaranteed under the Constitution of the People's Republic of China. The People's Republic of China was just elected, in 2013, to serve on the United Nations Human Rights Council, and Hada remains in prison, not charged with any crime and having served 15 years for essentially disagreeing with Chinese government authorities. Article 9 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights reads, "No one shall be subjected to arbitrary arrest, detention, or exile." The United Nations International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights goes further and also stipulates, in Article 9, anyone who is deprived of his liberty by arrest or detention shall be entitled to take proceedings before a court, in order that that court may decide without delay on the lawfulness of his detention and order his release if the detention is not lawful. The People's Republic of China is a signatory to both these important documents. Yet Hada continues to languish in detention, unable to interact with family or friends, or pursue the life he is guaranteed under the Constitution of the People's Republic of China. Just as Nelson Mandela, Hada was a warrior for his people and languished for years in prison. Unlike Mandela, the world has mostly turned a deaf ear to the plight of Hada. We urge you to contact all levels and branches of your government to inform them of Hada's continued incarceration and to apply the necessary diplomatic pressure to eliminate this injustice. Thanks for listening.